Hello, everybody on LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, any conceivable social media platform that we can live stream to. We're live streaming to, apart from X, because Elon Musk has now invoked some sort of law by which you have to pay him money to live stream on X, so we're not doing that. And Instagram's just too bloody hard, so we're not doing that either. But we are here for the first of four. He says it's going to be four live streams, counting down to the Evolving HR Conference in Manchester on November the 26th. Today, because we're just quite weird, we're not doing 100 days till the conference. We're doing 104 days till the conference. And joining me, of course, is the brainchild of Kirsty Bags Morgan. Kirsty, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Good morning, everybody.
It's morning. We've got coffees, we've got teas, we've got some sort of cooling system if we're here in the UK. So yeah, it's 104 days till the first conference you've ever hosted.
Yes, indeed, it's the first event I've ever hosted, other than my 40th birthday party and my wedding party. That's it.
How is this going to differ to your 40th birthday party and your wedding?
There's going to be marginally less death metal at this event than there was at both of those two. Marginally less. Well, none. Unless Jay does use a walk-on track, the walk-on track that he's been threatening to use when he comes on to speak, then there might be a little bit, but yeah.
I think it wouldn't be a Kirsty Bags Morgan event without a little bit of death metal scattered somewhere.
Yes.
So definitely need to go there. And for those watching live on LinkedIn and all the various channels, do drop us a comment in chat. Just let us know where in the world you are joining us from, because I'm out here in the arse end of nowhere, Norfolk, UK. Kirsty, you are?
I am in the Three Cities in Malta, in my house.
Lovely stuff. And we've got Charlie Hart. Charlie Hart has joined us. Hello, Charlie. Welcome.
Hey, Charlie.
If you do have any questions, Charlie, or want to join the chat, just drop something in the comments and we'll get the conversation going. This is a live stream, not a webinar. This is a two-way conversation, so very informal, just for us all to find out, including myself, a bit more about the whole big HR conference. So I got a few questions for you, Kirsty.
Go for it.
This is a very broad one. Why?
I think it came about very spur of the moment, and I know I've talked about this on LinkedIn, but to anybody who doesn't know the story behind this, everything that I do is to try and do things differently than things I experienced myself, if that makes any sense. So I was at a conference in Austin, Texas earlier this year with Kelly Swingler, Michelle Hartley, and Sam Eaton. And we were sitting in the hot tub at our Airbnb, as you do, after the conference one day. And I literally just said, one of these days, I'm going to put a conference on that doesn't involve all of the speakers selling their book or pitching to you all day long. Because I am so tired of going to these events. And I think don't get me wrong, the conference we went to was amazing, but there were just two speakers that I'd seen on the same day who were just talking about their book. And I thought, I can read it. Like, tell me something I don't know. Tell me something different. So I made this throwaway comment about one of these days I'm going to organize a conference. And Kelly just looked at me and said, when are you going to do it? And I said, I don't know. I mean, at this point, I'd only launched the Evolving HR Directory 2 months previously. So I was like, maybe 2 or 3 years' time. And she just sort of fixed me with this really steady look and said, why not this year? Why not November? And then she literally said, why not November the 26th? Which I think possibly she just plucked out of the sky, but I've never actually asked her. And my brain started whirring because I was like, actually, I'm back in the UK that week because my dad's 80th dinner is happening on Saturday the 23rd. So actually, I could do the 26th. And so she just left it there. And I went back into the Airbnb and, you know, the cogs are going. And I within half an hour, I'd sent a save the date out to all of the Evolving HR providers. And I decided that I wanted to do it in Manchester about 5 minutes later. So yeah, it was over the course of half an hour conversation in a hot tub, it became a reality.
I mean, that in itself has given me so many questions. So, do all your important business decisions happen in hot tubs?
I wish, but no, I think that is actually the only one. Most of my important business decisions happen like in my sleep. Like I dreamt the idea of evolving HR as a directory. That was a dream. Or quite often when I'm cleaning my teeth, for some reason, my brain seems to be really active when I'm asleep or cleaning my teeth.
Yeah, I think we're not selling a Kirsty Bags Morgan book, but your book might be on how to activate the brain through sleep and brushing your teeth. That could be
If I
really
knew
bestseller.
how and I could switch it on at will, then I absolutely would. Yeah.
And why Manchester?
I think a lot of people do London, and I like Manchester. And the way I'm genuinely, it was like, well, I've got to fly over from Malta to anywhere. So I was thinking I could do Manchester, I could do Birmingham. It'd be nice to do something a little bit more in the middle. So I went with Manchester. Manchester's a really cool city. And I just thought, why not? It's pretty easy to get to. It's certainly not as expensive as London. And at this point, I didn't have a clue what sort of venues there might be, or I had absolutely no idea what it might cost to put on something like this. But I just plucked Manchester because I like it. And actually, I've had really good feedback because there's quite a few people who've bought tickets who are coming down from Scotland. And they've said, well, thank you, because from Scotland to London, it costs a fortune. Like you either fly or the train costs way too much money. So Manchester's a little bit more doable from all over the country. But of course, the Londoners won't travel because Londoners don't travel outside London. And I am one. So, I speak from experience. We're a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, I think it's a really good shout. Yeah, every major conference I've been to in the past 10 years is either in London or maybe Birmingham at a push. But I'll be honest, the ones I've been into Birmingham have been pretty rubs. Only because it tends to be in the NEC and
soulless.
Yeah, you get there and you're like, oh, this is terrible. And I think.
And it's really difficult, isn't it? Because it's like when you need somewhere huge, like I know that the Festival of Work is always at Excel. Well, is it at Excel? I don't know if it always has been, but it's at Excel. And Excel is basically just like a massive warehouse. It's not particularly exciting venue, but because of the sheer scale of that event, there's not so many places that you could put something like that. So I've deliberately, I mean, you know this, because as soon as I got back from that trip to the States, I contacted you. And I have no idea why, because we've not worked together really before. We've met once in person at that Disrupt HR event, but we've chatted a little bit. But I just had it in my head that you would be a really good person to help with something like this. But I still don't think I could have imagined how well that turned out. Like we literally have completely complementary skills, but not exactly the same. So I know squit about technology and the AV side of things, and that is like totally your bag. All of these graphics and things and the video you've just done to start this, I haven't got a clue.
So if the AV stuff goes wrong on the day,
it's
you know who to
Toby.
be.
I'm nothing to do with that. All Toby. So anyway, so I asked you to be involved, but at that point we didn't have a venue. But we decided fairly early on to keep it quite small, didn't we?
Yes.
We were like, so there's going to be a maximum of 200 people there in person, but 150 tickets that have gone up for sale, because we've got sponsors, we've got speakers, we've got some of my best friends are coming to help and volunteer on the day. So there'll be sort of 175 to 200 people there, and that feels manageable. And it also meant that we didn't have to go in a great big soulless warehouse. So
although we are in a warehouse,
we are literally in a warehouse.
Like the venue when you. This is why I think we've worked well together as well. Is that you sent me a list of venues that we could potentially be looking at, and it was like there was pretty much just the one out of that list that we both went. I mean, if we're going to do it, it's got to be there. The other ones 100%. Were like
70s ballrooms with chandeliers.
Yeah, and it's like that's not very.
We're not chandelier people. Like chandelier in a Gothic castle, different.
Yes, yeah, chandelier in a Hilton in a city centre, and no.
No, it's the red and gold carpet thing, or green and gold. They all have green and gold carpet, cream chairs and chandeliers. There's so many of them. It's like this identikit thing. And I was like, no. And then I saw the website for the Victoria Warehouse, and it was like, Imaged. Like it's gorgeous. So for anybody watching, if you haven't seen it already, the conference is taking place at the Victoria Warehouse in Old Trafford. So it's really close to Old Trafford, the football stadium, much to my husband's chagrin as a Liverpool fan. But it's bare bricks. It's got a metal sculpture of the Predator, for goodness sake, from the movie, and it's got all like old BBC kit, like really old phones and operator boards and on-air signs and things. And I just love that idea, that because what I'm trying to do with evolving is change the world of HR, and I know that what you're doing with Freeformers is trying to change the world of work. The idea of hosting something progressive like that in an old school kind of industrial revolution style warehouse, that kind of really appealed to me, that kind of mix up.
I think it's super cool. Well, I'm going to just try fire up some pictures in a second, just so we can show it off, because like we need, seeing is believing. I'm just going to do a Google image search. That's the old school way of doing it, right? So let's just fire up Google image search. Let's put ourselves down at the bottom. Well, now it's just giving me pictures of Old Trafford. So
yeah, that's no going up.
That's not the Liverpool warehouse. These aren't the right. This is just Old Trafford.
No, that's not it. That is that one. Well, that's helpful, is it? There you go. That's what it looks like. That's what our room is going to look like where we host the conference. So I was really, really clear. I wanted to do it cabaret style because I don't know, it's less awkward. Sometimes if you're sat theatre style, it's a bit awkward, isn't it? Because you've got to say excuse me to get out and get a glass of water or something. But yeah, the cabaret style makes sense.
Hello.
You froze.
I have no idea what happened. Well, my internet dropped out is exactly what happened.
That's right. I was just sat there like, such a pro.
What did we say about me being in charge of all the AV stuff, and then if it goes wrong,
yeah,
that's
my embarrassing,
fault,
isn't it? Yeah. But then you're not actually operating it all on the day, are you? You have found a team to do that for us, which was really hard for you to find, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm predominantly emceeing the event is my role, because you said that was one of the things you didn't want to do.
No, gosh. I mean, I would prefer not to be on stage at all, but I am going to be hosting a panel discussion. So I had a lovely conversation with, we haven't announced our sponsors yet, and we probably will do over the next few days, but I had a lovely conversation last week with one of our gold sponsors, and she has asked if I will host that panel conversation that they're going to put on. And I'm actually really excited about it. And I realized, Toby, that I haven't even told you about that yet. So I will do offline before we announce it. But that's going to be a conversation with a twist. And I'm really looking forward to just bringing a completely different angle to... Shall I just say what it's all about?
You've teased it now. I think you have to say it.
Okay, I'm going to announce that. One of our gold sponsors is a wonderful lady called Dee Coxon, and she has a company called Menopause. And what I love about the Menopause, it's a course, so clever name. What I love about what Dee is doing in the menopause space is that her training is not geared towards women or people going through menopause. It is geared towards managers of people who are going through menopause. So it's about helping managers to recognize what the symptoms are, what their employees might be experiencing, and then helping them to understand that and work with employees to get through it. So one of the things that's really interesting, she was telling me about, that a lot of the people that do the program, do the course, don't want to be named publicly because they're doing it kind of on the quiet to help their employees, but they don't necessarily want everybody to know about it. So one of the things I asked her was, do you think that you could have, one of your clients on the panel? And she said, there's no way people would want to do it because of that reason. So what we've decided to do, we're going to host a panel about menopause in the workplace, but it's going to be Dee, and we're going to ask two men to sit on the panel, or two people who are never going to experience menopause personally. And I've got one lined up already. And I asked him on Friday because he's really funny. He is young and will not have experienced this. He doesn't manage people right now, so it's not.
Sorry. Funny, young, and hasn't experienced menopause. I think you're talking about me.
Well, I was actually saying to Dee that you would be great on this panel, but I think everybody's going to see enough of you.
Yeah, there is such a thing as too much Toby, and I cannot be on the panels as well.
Yeah.
It's not the Toby show.
So I'll tell you who it's going to be. It's and he doesn't know I'm going to say this right now, but Matt Wallace. I don't know if you follow Matt Wallace, Toby. He is hilarious and an absolutely lovely chap. And he's already coming to the conference. He's one of the ones that's coming down from Scotland for the conference. And I just messaged him on Friday and I was like, Matt, I've had this conversation with Dee. We'd really like to get, a couple of men on this panel just for a completely different take on it. And just like, Dee can then share some of her expertise, but, different perspectives. And he said, yep, I'm in, I'm keen. So I was like, awesome, thank you. So we do need to find somebody else to sit on that panel. Like I said, I'm going to host it. And then it will be Dee, Matt, and ideally it would either be somebody who isn't going to experience menopause themselves, who either manages people who do, or who has a spouse at home that is experiencing or has experienced it. So if there's anybody listening who fits that description and would love to be in a panel discussion, I think it will be quite fun. So that's the thing. I want it, we've got serious topics, but let's not be dull about it. Let's make it interesting. So yeah, very excited about that.
I think it's such an important thing. And I spoke at an event on International Women's Day about, as I say, my experience with menopause. But essentially, I used to work in a company where two of the people were going through the menopause. One because of age, and one because of an ovarian cancer risk. They had their ovaries removed and early onset menopause. So two people experiencing the menopause in the workforce for very, very different reasons. And it was only through kind of a twist of fate that I'd met someone in the menopause industry, like menopause training kind of area. The January of last year, where I was like, okay, it's not really anything I'd literally given zero thought to.
Why would you?
Yeah, exactly. And
You're
then
what, 26?
I wish. But like, I has had that conversation with her, and then had a conversation with these two people who were experiencing the menopause, and I'm like, okay, so you could do whatever you need to do or want as an individual going through the menopause, but like, what reasonable adjustments are being made in the workplace by your leaders and your teams and your environment to support with that? And I took that to the senior leadership team of that company, and I was met with kind of silence and inaction. And I was like, that's not, it's simply not good enough. So I love the way that you've structured that panel, that it helps create conversation, but also systemic action that, is gonna have an impact. And that's the beautiful thing about the conference, right? It's not selling stuff. It's like, what can we do to change things?
What can we do to change things? And I think, I won't talk about menopause too much, but obviously it's a subject close to my heart. I have now had 11 years of perimenopausal symptoms and still showing no signs of disappearing, thanks. But there have been times over the last 11 years where I've thought I'm losing my mind, where I haven't been able to perform at work. And obviously I'm self-employed now, so it's hard enough for women going through it personally. They can't articulate what's wrong with them. But for the people managing them and their colleagues trying to navigate this change in personality and change in performance level is really, really tough. And the one thing that I think is really, really interesting is how much emphasis we now place on mental health training in the workplace and recognition of different mental health conditions. There are so many courses out there that help managers and colleagues to understand that. And there's a smaller percentage of people that will go through mental health issues than there are that will go through menopause. There's pretty much 50% of the population. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the stats are. I know mental health cases are high, but we have 50% of the population who are pretty much guaranteed to be going through this, and yet we're not allowing for that. And we don't know how to allow for that. Anyway, so I'm really excited about that. I'm also, super thrilled to have Dee on board. And it would be really lovely, actually, on the next one of these, if we could maybe bring her in to say hi, because we've got the most amazing people sponsoring this conference already. And yeah, it would be lovely for people to meet them.
Well, we were putting together like the tour poster, although we're not touring, and just like the
Maybe
logos and
next
names.
year.
The logos and names that are on there are so cool and so inspiring. I think the amazing thing you've done is like the incredible variety of stuff that we're going to be talking about on the day, and I think that's the important thing. Is like we're going to be talking about it. We're not going to just be sat listening and expecting this kind of one-way broadcast. It's an event that's
No,
designed to engage a HR community that wants to, shape the world slightly differently than it is today.
totally.
Who else? Who else have we got? Let's talk about someone else.
Are we
So we were
talking
talking
about
about
speakers? Are
menopause.
we talking about sponsors? Who do we want to talk about?
Let's pick a speaker. Let's pick one of our storytelling speakers.
Oh, yes. Okay. So again, not announced this yet. Really need to. In the afternoon of the session, our silver sponsors are going to be doing 5-minute storytelling sessions each. So I know Natalie is on here listening because she's put in the chat, hello, sorry, I'm a bit late. So Natalie Brown is going to be one of our storytellers. Who else have we got? Natalie's coming all the way over from Dubai. Natalie, do you want to jump in? Do you want to share what you're going to talk about if you're there?
Natalie, if you've come up with the title for your storytelling session, drop it in chat,
but
and then
can I remember it?
talk about it. But Dubai, so there's going to be a real competition for the most traveled, like they do this at weddings, right? The most traveled guest. So Dubai is quite far, but I believe Dubai actually won't be the furthest.
No, it won't, because the quite unbelievable Julie Turney is coming from Barbados to speak for us. And I still can't believe this. Now, caveat, I know Julie is from Manchester originally. I know that she has family in Manchester. So I took a punt I really wanted her to come and speak. And I just said, I don't know when you last went back to visit family, but if there's any way you might be able to combine it. And she almost bit my hand off. She said, I would be absolutely honored. And I said, I am so sorry. I wish I could afford to pay for your flight, but I can't. And I said, but I could put you up in a hotel. And she said, Kirsty, I don't need a hotel. I'll stay with family. I would be honored to be there. And I think, I've had so many conversations like that where people have gone out of their way to support this and be part of it. But I think Julie may have the edge on distance, although Moira, close, right? It's coming from Moira Hudak Hall is a LinkedIn contact of mine who is really, really cool. And she lives in, it's on the East Coast. I want to say Maine. So she's flying over from the States. And I think Reba Quattlebaum is flying over from Dallas just to attend.
Nuts.
I know.
That is incredible. So hang on, we've got Dubai, Maine, Barbados, and what was the last one? Sorry, Dallas.
And Gary Griffith, one of our other speakers, is based in Berlin. So he's coming from Germany.
I'm not very good at geography, but I think Berlin out of those 5 is probably the closest.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah.
Dallas, the home of the Dallas
Shortest
Cowboys.
Distance will be someone like Laura Joy because she lives in Manchester. So, and she's from Manchester. I'm trying to think who's coming that is actually based in Manchester. I have not memorized the names of the people that have bought tickets, obviously. But
I know I was talking. So you're quite fortunate in the AO.com, the appliances retailer, online retailer, is based in Manchester. And obviously there's quite a lot of big companies, and there's a few people in my feed kind of saying, thank goodness, like an event in Manchester where we can go to, because I think there are, and in Leeds as well, because Asda, for example, I think is based in Leeds as well. So that M62 corridor across the kind of the north of England has huge companies there that are doing some great things, but you always have to go down to London to get to a conference when actually on their home turf it's a lot cooler.
And Liverpool, I mean, if you think you've got Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds within fairly easy reach, it's hard to get back to Liverpool from Manchester late at night, gigs wise. I've got a friend who lives in the Wirral, and they never go to gigs in Manchester because she's like, you have to get a taxi or drive, like you just can't get back. But they're pretty close together, and Birmingham's not a massive stretch because the train's pretty straightforward. And then of course you've got like Stoke and Stafford, and they're just an easy ride up on the train. So there's a few. I know Jolie Clark's coming from Teesside. Adele Curry's
Nice.
coming from Teesside. So yeah, I'm just touched. I'm touched that people are making the effort to travel. That they have that kind of faith in us that we're going to put on something that is worth their while. Which, I mean, we 100% are. But it's nice to know. I mean, we've sold 85 tickets already. That blows my mind. We've still got 3.5 months to go, and we've sold 85 tickets. That's amazing.
Which, if you just raise your watch hand up and do this, there you go. There's a QR code in the top corner.
I have to pull a face at the same time, but yeah.
I didn't ask you to pull the face, but
no, it just comes naturally to me.
That's your finger pointing face. Every time you point your finger, the face comes out. Yeah, but if you scan that QR code, take a look at the event, take a look at the amazing speakers, the agenda, and the location, the times, all that stuff's on that link on Eventbrite. And if you want to come and join us. We're going to have an amazing time. We have a few things that are going to happen on the day that I think we're not going to announce before the day. Like, hold some of that secret stuff.
That's a great idea. Yeah. I mean, there are. Yeah, I need to update you on a couple of things, actually, because I've been doing stuff behind the scenes. Oh, Natalie says she's happy to chat about it.
Oh,
do you want to bring her in?
Natalie, there is going to be a QR code on the screen momentarily. I want you to scan that QR code for me.
It popped up for a second, then went again.
I just realised that I just need to update the link. So we do that. And there you go. So, Natalie, if you have your phone on you, that QR code, give it a little scan, and you will be able to join us live on LinkedIn to talk about the Evolving HR Conference and what you specifically are going to talk about. We'll give Natalie a moment to do that, because I know there is a slight delay from when we say stuff to it being actually broadcast. So we'll give it a moment.
Is that in case we swear? Oh, no, because no one's editing it. I do wonder sometimes what goes on with my brain.
I think we're allowed. Are we allowed to? I recorded a podcast last night, and I asked if we were allowed to swear after saying shit 3 times. And I know we're pre-watershed, so I should maybe. Well, it's
so far pre-watershed, like 10 hours. No,
yeah. Although I can't imagine there's many kids hanging out on LinkedIn trying to watch. Honestly,
gripped by a live about a conference, to do with HR. Yeah.
Could you imagine? I think there's way more appropriate stuff on YouTube for kids to be watching at this time of day than us. And it is the summer holiday, so they probably are watching YouTube. Cool. So, Natalie, if you are still there, scan the QR code. Or if you don't want to join us live, you can just join us in chat if you want. But we'd love to know what you are going to be talking about. So yeah, we will eagerly wait Natalie's arrival.
I'd like to know whether, because I tried to set this up so it would live stream to the Evolving HR Facebook group. I don't know if it's working or not. I have no way of knowing. So if anybody is watching through the Evolving HR Facebook group, can you let us know in the comments? Because I'm really not very good at technology, and I probably.
As far as I can see, we are not live in the Facebook group.
Excellent. Well done, me. Brilliant.
What I can see, or what I have started doing, is where is furthest away? Barbados, Dallas. Well, what was that?
I live in Malta. It's the noisiest place on earth. That will be, I don't know. That's not the gas man. His horn is louder than that. That's probably just one of my lovely neighbours.
Do you not have, if I misremember this, a donut van or something that has a
on Sundays?
On Sunday, okay, so it's not. Yeah. That's not the donut
megaphone. Van. It's not actually a megaphone. He's got the megaphone on the front of the van, and it repeats the message about every 10 seconds. And the first time we heard it, we thought it was like a political, some sort of politician campaigning. But then I caught the word donut, which is fortunately the same in Maltese, and looked out the window, and it's got blooming great donuts painted on the side. So yeah, every Sunday.
Well, I don't know. Some politicians in the UK are very much like donuts. There you go. There's a bit of the humour you can expect at the Evolving HR Conference in November.
Yes, he'll be there all day.
yeah. It does get old. You will want to leave by the end of the night. Okay.
Just taking a notice of it. I mean, we'll probably have a cannon, and someone scan the QR code. That'll be Natalie.
I mean, if it's not Natalie, a randomer is about to join us live. So,
which would be fine if anybody else wants to join. So yeah,
just like the sense of Jeopardy, like just having an absolute unknown entity join us.
Yeah, like, will
Whilst
it
we
be
just wait for
Natalie? Will it
Natalie.
be someone else? Who knows?
Yeah. So we got Maine is out the equation. Maine is not as far away as these other three, but we've got Dubai, Barbados, and Dallas. They're all pretty close.
Are
Out of those
they?
three, which do you think is the furthest away?
I'm actually going to go with Dallas.
It is Dallas
Is it?
by about 45 minutes. Dallas is further than Barbados.
Good Lord.
Dubai is quite a bit closer. Berlin, as anticipated. I had to, just for my own satisfaction, I had to Google how far away Berlin was from Manchester. Well, where is Natalie? Come on,
I don't
Natalie.
know what's happening there.
Well,
Will she
what
just
happens?
appear, or do you have to let her in?
No, so what will happen is Natalie scans the QR code. It'll bring her to the studio, which is what me and Kirsty are in now. We aren't actually on LinkedIn. We're in a studio, an online studio. Natalie will appear as a little grey box in the bottom left-hand corner. And we won't be able to hear her until we press the little blue. You won't have this, but I can bring her onto the stage. But
I can't work out the tech to join.
Well, there we go. Natalie, do you want to just say in chat? If you want to just say
about the digital people era and how we need to be best friends with our tech colleagues. The people experience at work is already highly digital, and we should be looking at how we best integrate tech and people teams to work together to optimize that. Ooh. That's right up your street as well.
Yeah, that is right on my street. That was like that was firing off neurons all over the place in my brain going, oh, I can't wait for that. Natalie, I think we might have to extend your talk to about maybe 20, 25 minutes, or maybe just in the bar afterwards, you can do like a special like 15-minute version for me, because that is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, that's the thing. It's like everybody's come up with really cool like subjects to talk about. So the idea, what I said to everybody is like, you're there to either educate, inform, or entertain. And to my knowledge, well, the entertainment, we do have a couple of, no one's singing to my knowledge. Or you probably will. I wouldn't be at all.
No, I that is the last thing I will be doing. I will not be doing any singing.
Oh, Katie's here too, Katie Murray. Now, Katie is also one of our sponsors. But so Katie is a HR copywriter. And when I met her for the first time, when we talked about going into the directory, I did not know such a thing existed. It's such a, I mean, what a brilliant idea. Writing all the things that you haven't got the skills or the knowledge to do in HR. I think I know she does lots of things like communications and that sort of thing. And it's one of those classic examples of something that we're expected to do in HR, but not trained to do, because it is a completely different skill set. So love what Katie does. Now, Katie can't actually make it on the day. So she is sponsoring somebody else to speak. And it's up to you if you want to talk about that or not, because we've got people being sponsored by.
Well, I think we should, because I think it's a huge testament to the community that are involved with you, myself, and the conference. Like that, people are wanting to coin a phrase from our good friend Emma. You know, amplify the voices of those people who ordinarily wouldn't get the chance to do that. And I think that's the really cool thing about the storytelling sessions is we've got some huge heavy hitters in the world of HR speaking about some incredible things, but these storytelling sessions are people that maybe even taking the stage for the first time as well, which is insane to like kind of put your hand up and go, hey, 150 people, yeah, go on then, I'll do my first 5-minute talk for that. So yeah, tell us about the kind of those opportunities.
So one of the things that I talk about all the time is collaboration over competition. And I am not the only person that organizes an HR event with a difference. The first person to do that last year was Emma Jamil. And I I love Emma. So for those of you that went to the HR Big Meet, you'll know what I'm talking about. So Emma has run the HR Big Meet for 2 years running now, and it will happen again next year. And the HR Big Meet is it's a women HR professionals only, and that is an event that's taken place in London, and it's all about having HR people get up and tell their stories. And so there tends to be quite a lot of, personal stories, a lot of learning, confidence, self-development, that sort of thing. But it's just the most incredible day of connection and community. And so Emma is, at the moment, she has a program that she runs called Amplify Your Impact, which you're actually involved in a small part as well, aren't you? And two of the Amplify Your Impact participants will be taking the stage at the Evolving HR Conference as the finale to that program, and they will be standing up in front of 150 people and talking. And so Katie Murray, who is with us right now, is one of the sponsors who is behind one of the Amplify Your Impact participants, and Emma is sponsoring the second one herself. So Emma's business, the HR Club, is supporting the second one. So that's really exciting. So for those two individuals, and we decided to let them decide between them, the people doing that program, we decided to let them decide which two are going to do it on the day. The original thinking was, we could have somebody win it, and then you're like, no, the whole point of it is about growing confidence, and you don't want a winning and losing situation, because people, that doesn't help, does it? So like, they're all equal, they can decide who wants to do it. But ironically, one of the ladies who is doing that program is Jenny Armstrong of Bohemian HR, who separately is sponsoring the Evolving HR event and will already be speaking. So we're actually going to have 3 Amplify Your Impact participants speaking on the day. So that's very cool.
I'm the part I'm playing in the Amplify Your Impact program is supporting with in-person presentation skills. So us and the whole group of the Amplify Your Impact gang are heading to a stand-up comedy night first week in September to learn about some of the presentation skills that stand-up comedians use and apply that there. Not necessarily make everyone a stand-up comedian, but apply some of those skills into the world of work. Now, I don't know if you can see Kirsty, but we have a very special guest who's now popped up in the bottom left-hand corner of our screen, who we can now bring onto the screen. Hello, Natalie! Hey!
You worked it out!
I did not work it out. I scanned the wrong QR code, didn't I?
Have you now bought another ticket by accident?
No, I didn't. But thank you for the wonderful welcome.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us, persisting with the technology and the QR code. You made it. Hello.
Hello.
Elaborate. This talk that you're doing in November sounds incredible. Tell us a bit more.
Well, I am a self-confessed HR tech geek anyway. I appreciate not everybody is, but I absolutely am, so I love it. But even though I am a bit of a tech geek, even I have not gotten close enough to our technology partners. It was on reflection from my last role about how far away I was. Every well-being survey, every engagement survey, a lot of the issues that came out were all tech-related. And then it was when I did the Oracle program director role that I did. I worked really closely with IT on it. And then they started telling me about all these other things that they were doing. I was like, yeah, but that impacts everything. That impacts how our employees are at work, how they interact with each other, with how they do their job. If your job's not easy because of tech, then it's impacting everything around you. You're not very productive. You're not very happy. Impacts engagement. So there were so many things. I thought, why don't we know about that? And so that thought's been going around in my head for quite a while around what does that actually mean? I thought, wow, we should actually be probably writing our people strategies in line with our IT colleagues and really becoming best of friends. So yeah, it's all about that.
Oh, that's so interesting. And honestly, not something I ever thought of. I was too concerned with, like, you've got to be buddies with the finance department and the legal department and, ideally the CEO. But tech, no. I mean, I always got on really well with them personally because they were like pariahs like we were. And actually, the one company I worked for, we used to have the unpopular Christmas party every year.
Really?
The 2 desktop support guys and the 3 of us in HR, because there were 2 years running where suddenly the whole office emptied, And my colleague Sarah and I looked at each other and went, "Where's everybody gone?" And our admin, Lilith, who was, oh my God, it's Lilith's birthday today. No, it's tomorrow. Shut up, Kirsty. Actually, I think it might be today. Anyway, happy birthday, Lilith. Lilith was really popular, even though she worked in HR. And she would turn around awkwardly and go, "Yeah, there's a big company Christmas lunch today." And we were like, and we weren't invited. So we were invited. And Lilith was like, "Yeah, but I felt bad." And we were like, "Just go, Lil." So she would go off and have lunch with the whole company. And me and Sarah and the two IT guys were never invited. It was so funny. So the four of us started going out for our own lunches, like the unpopular Christmas lunch.
That sounds like secondary school for me all over again, to be completely honest.
Being picked last in netball because you're 5'3".
Yeah, 5'2", so I'm with you. I was never the team buds, but yeah, I just think it's one of those things that's here now, and we kind of just need to stop what we're doing the way that we're doing it and just do it a different way completely. Which is a little bit controversial when people have always done it a certain way, but I just think it's landed. And you just need to catch up.
I'm so here for the controversy and the disruption, because one of the reasons that the HR profession doesn't progress as fast as it should is because we keep doing things the way we've always done them. And it needs to change. It so needs to change.
All coming up with excuses as to why you can't. I was talking to Jessie from Stacked, the HR.
My gosh, she's amazing.
Yeah, love her. And I was saying, God, one of the big frustrations is people always come up with excuses to why they can't do it. Like, oh yeah, but it doesn't connect to this thing, or it doesn't do this one tiny thing that we've been doing for 10 years. It's just, you just need to forget it and think that you might get 80% and 80% is good enough, and then just crack on.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. Totally agree. While you're here,
yes,
do you want to share what else you've got going on right now?
Yeah, the HR colouring book and the HR merch.
Leslie had a creative weekend.
I did. I was working on it all night as well. My husband was on the phone to me from Saudi, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I can hear you clicking and typing away." I was like, "Oh my God, I've got this brilliant idea." Which totally went over his head. So yeah, I worked on it for about 4 days flat to come up with all the designs. So we've got mugs, we've got posters, we've got journals, and then a colouring book that the proof is arriving today to my mum's house, and I can't wait for her to see it. I'm hoping that it looks good, because I spent bloody hours getting the design right so that it fit.
You know what? I think it looks lovely. I think they're really quite funny little captions that you've got underneath. I think the unicorn one is my favourite.
I know, I love the unicorn.
Also the one that I've experienced the most often. And anybody who works in talent acquisition will know what I mean about, trying to find that unicorn that the CEO has just decided they want. But Natalie's turned all of this into a colouring book, and it's gorgeous. We should talk. Maybe we should have like a merch stand at the conference.
Yeah, we should. I would definitely bring some. Get it
brilliant. That'd be amazing.
Let's do it.
So yeah, very cool. If you're not already following Natalie, do. And you can make sure you get your hands on the some of her merch and her colouring book when it comes out.
Yes, thank you both.
I love I love the mix of colouring books and HR tech. That's just
such a random thing, isn't it?
very different ends of a spectrum, right?
You
there.
are so my people. I love that. Let's do things differently and create a colouring book.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Awesome. Natalie, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to let you go now, and then you can continue just watching me and Kirsty waffle. But let's give you a wave you goodbye. We're going to push you off the screen. See you later.
Bye.
Well, that was cool. That was cool. One of our speakers joining us live on the fly. Natalie had no idea that she was going to be on a live stream today. And lo and behold, there she was. Speaking about some awesome stuff. And colouring books as well. I saw that in a group chat over the weekend. I was like, this is cool. Like, and hilarious as well. Like, I needed.
They are really funny. They are really. I might have to get one of the mugs actually, because I love a comedy mug.
It's back. It's back. I am.
Oh.
No, it's because the camera's mirrored. I am
fucking radiant.
Okay, radiant. Good. Yeah.
Yes. And actually, Michelle Hartley was wearing this as a T-shirt at the HR Big Meet last year. So that's how I know she's my people. So we have the same thing, but I have a mug and she had a T-shirt. So.
Are you, because I know you have had speciality T-shirts in the past for events. through, I think, Michelle, wasn't it? Michelle made you a t-shirt.
Michelle made me the one that I wore to the HR Big Meet this year, which was about evolving HR, and it had a little card, an AI generated me saying Chief Spotlight Shiner.
Which is, I know we're not here to talk about the app and all that kind of stuff, but that's essentially, you've made Chief Spotlight Shiner into an app is incredible, and we'll talk about that some other time. But
I find it a hell of a lot easier to promote and big up other people than I do myself, and so I've managed to turn that into work. So I want to get to a point when, you know, I don't think I'll ever stop growing the Evolving HR app, but I want to get to a point where I can spend as much of my time as possible shouting about what all of the providers in the app do, because there is some amazing work being done out there. And, you know, one of the things that I've discovered is, like, going out and trying to find people. There are people showing up that I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was a thing that you do. That's really cool. And so, you know, just trying to get that out to a wider audience so that people know about some of the amazing work that people are doing. So yeah, I am the Chief Spotlight Shiner. That is me.
And that encapsulates the event as well, right? That's your providing an opportunity for, well, not only just spotlights on people, but conversations, like you said at the top of the show, don't really happen at these large HR conferences, because there are people selling books, there are people, essentially they are selling, and apart from a potential merch stand, this isn't a pitch up and sell stuff. This is like, what can we do? I think Natalie completely encapsulates everything that, you know, of the Evolving HR conference is about. There's like taking a completely different perspective, seeing something in the world and kind of go, we should be doing this differently, and talking about it.
Do you know, they all do. That's what all of the speakers and all of the sponsors who are speaking, that's what they've all got in common. They are all challenging the status quo in some way. So look at Kelly Swingler. Kelly Swingler is our keynote, our headline keynote. And we've deliberately put her on in the morning while everybody's minds are fresh and they're not tired at the end of the day. So Kelly is our headline keynote, and she is, you know, she is the burnoutologist. She is the leading expert on burnout, and she sees it constantly in HR professionals, and she is changing the conversations that we're having about that. And she's doing such amazing work in that space that, you know, people need to have those conversations. People need to understand that, you know, somebody literally said to me the other day, I took a couple of days off. You're not going to get over burnout by taking a couple of days off. It's not about that. It's something that takes such a long time to build up, that, you know, and I just think everybody needs to hear what Kelly has to say. Everybody needs to hear what Julie Turney has to say, because that is about taking care of yourself in HR. And, you know, it's a blooming tough profession, and we always put ourselves last. We always put ourselves last. And it always takes me back to the first event that we ran, and it was Emma Jamil, and it was Katie Walton and Sue Patel and Lorraine Ivers. We ran an online event, oh my God, 2 years ago, called Where the Fuck Is My Oxygen Mask? And, you know, if it didn't have a swear word in it, I think we'd all still be using that title now, because that's essentially what I'm trying to create for HR, is that a platform and a day to just be yourselves and not have to worry about the blooming employees in your organization, who are great, and we all love our work, and I get that, but just to not have to talk about other people for once, to talk about the things that are important to you and that can make you do your job better. So
yeah, I think that's a lovely note to end on for our first live stream. We are back in September. I can't exactly remember what date we're back.
Nor can I. I'll just smile.
I'm gonna pretend that I'm not firing up my calendar now. It's September, the second week in September.
Possibly.
It's not the 24th, so I've got a haircut that day. It's the 10th. We're back September the 10th. So we're not doing it the week before, because kids go back to school. People are busy. We're not going to expect people to do that. But on Tuesday, the 10th of September, 8:30 a.m., right here on LinkedIn, we'll be back. And how many days will be left then?
It's another random number, isn't it? Because you haven't done any regular numbers at all. Let me have a look.
You got to keep people guessing. It's going to be like 89 or something.
There's one that's 76. It could be 76.
76 must. What are we? 104, 76?
Yeah.
76 sounds
Feels
about
like
right.
that might be it.
So we're going to be back here at 8:30, Tuesday the 10th of September, for 76 days to go to the Evolving HR Conference. We will have more announcements.
Just done it the next day and it had been a nice round 70. But
No, gonna make it weird. Like I used to, when I did lots and lots of facilitation, we'd always put, and we're back from a break at 1:47. So it's more memorable. So people it sticks in their mind. So the logic of random numbers. But I mean, it doesn't work because I forgot. So actually, the psychology of it's going to be completely proved wrong. Kirsty, it's been awesome to chat to you. Lovely as always. We will flash up the logo and then we will leave this live stream and leave everybody else. So everybody in chat, thank you for joining us. If you've got any questions, if you want to purchase a ticket, Kirsty, raise your hand, do the face. Scan the QR code, buy some tickets if you haven't already. Drop us a message, follow us both, follow Evolving HR, and we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday the 10th. But more importantly, we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday the 26th of November for the Evolving HR Conference. But for now, it's goodbye.